been moved from the Dowerhand encampment to a ship preparing to depart for an unknown port in the north. His rescue is paramount to maintaining peace in Eredluin.
Welcome back, everyone, to Piney Plays the Scholar, and today we are trying to sneak into this port because the Dower Hands have taken an elf and are planning on shipping the elf away. So we must... Boy, that was really stealthy. Good grief. Okay, so that wasn't a very stealthy entrance that I made there. As a result, then, let's see if we could get through here quickly. And it looks like I can blast through if I am not particularly successful. Like, I one-shot him. He didn't have a chance to yell out. Ah. Oh, yeah. I see what they mean by minstrels can be OP at times. Very well. Yeah. One shot, 2 in a row. And what level are these guys? Level 11? Yeah, but that wasn't one of the Watchers. That was... Yeah, level 11 it looks like. Alright, so, level 11, only one level below me, and I one-shotted 2 in a row. Okay. Noted. And here's an elf. Hello there, are you fine?
Praise Elbereth, one who might be of help.
Ah, yes. You are here to free me? Skorgrim Dowerhan has raised a goblin army in the cleft of Roth Teraig, and unless we stop him, he will sweep through all the free lands. There is no time to waste, my friend. We will need to defeat the captain and his crew if we are to escape from Kiladu with our lives and bring word of the danger that grows stronger within Roth Teraig. The captain will soon return. Quickly, untie my hands. We need to escape from here. Alright, there you go. Oh, it looks like there are a couple of... Speaking of captains. Yeah, I didn't think I could one-shot a level 12 signature. But he's down anyway. And soon he'll be down. Yes! Victory is ours today! I guess saying Baruch Hazad is probably not the best thing to do. Let's get out of here. Mission accomplished, and it looks like that Skorgrim is assembling an army of goblins.
How can I be of service?
Arthur's safe then, and the promise of peace is much closer than it was, but Eredluin is not free from the threat of war just yet, Sanyello. We must defeat Skorgrim Dowerhand and end his menace, and we must do this quickly before he can put the second stage of his plan into motion.
Stay a moment.
I will send word to Mothi Stouthand and Gaithin of Gondaman of Arthel's safe return and to warn their masters. The free peoples of Eredluin must unite if they are to drive Skorgrim and his goblin allies from this land. While Lord Dwalin and Master Duringer assemble their forces, I have an urgent task for you. The goblins have mustered in Roth Teraig, and we are to have any hope of reaching Skorgrim, we must thin their ranks. Journey to the outskirts of Roth Teraig in the valley south of Gondaman and speak with the dwarf there, Ingolfer. He will have more instructions for you. Aid him, and Dwalin and Duringer may have the greatest chance for victory. All right, then let us head their way. Preparations for an assault. The valley south is dangerous, Proceed with caution if you wish to proceed. Yes, I'll take that into account. Which reminds me, I am here to scout the area because I've been told the goblins are assembling an army here and I need to thin their numbers. So yes, I know it's dangerous.
Greetings, traveler!
So, Legolas sent you. He's a queer sort, that one, but a fine fellow for sending aid. If he thinks you are capable, then I have no reason to keep you from your task. You will find all manner of foul goblins beyond our barricade here. Do your best to avoid the truly dangerous ones, and be careful not to travel too deeply into the valley. Fearsome are the goblins beyond the great peak at the heart of Roth-Taraig. I'll take that into account. Anything else while I'm here? Yes.
Come and stay a moment, friend.
Yes, my thanks for standing by us on this. You are not here to simply call the local vermin. You want to deal with the real threat. That is to say, goblins. The foul things have been bubbling up out of the ground like bees from a kicked hive. I don't rightly know what has gotten them all riled up, nor do I care. But I believe it is their leader, Gazrip. I suspect it's Gorgrim Garahan giving orders to Gazrip that's riling them, but that's just my opinion. If you're up for a fight, get in there and break some goblin heads. If we can shatter the morale by defeating their leader, we can pen them through the winter. We will see. The snow's ought to block up the passes till spring, and we will be free from them for a long while, at least. I'll take that into account. So, what's this about vermin?
Welcome. You've come at a most fortuitous time.
Yeah, cave claws are making a mess in the place. Why don't you kill some? Alright, fine.
Greetings, traveler. Will you stay a moment?
Yes, and also, deal with the spiders. I didn't think that was worth reading word for word, right? Now, let's see what we got here. Well, cave claw. Now, while I kill cave claws and spiders, let me think about what else the dwarves may have taken from the elves, other than the elf that we had to rescue. Now, I'm not talking about Skorgrim trying to steal various gems and jewelry and artifacts and lore, which he did plenty of. No, I am talking about words. You knew it was going to come down to words in the end, right? And that's because, yes, we do have locked on target. Oh, okay, I must have hit some button that has a locking on it. Because I never remember seeing that before. Alright. Now, what were we saying? Oh, yes, borrowing words. Languages have borrowed words from other languages all the time. Unless a language is completely isolated and the people that speak it are completely isolated, it's highly unlikely that every word spoken in the language is going to be originated from that language. You know, or of course from... Of course, I would say all words eventually will come from the ancestors of the language in addition to that. But, I mean, in addition to the ones that come from the ancestor language, you have that are borrowed from other languages. For example, Latin was notorious for borrowing words from Greek, which is one of the reasons why we have so many Greek words that are in various languages, because they got into Latin, and from Latin they went into many other languages, such as English, for example. There you go. In fact, if you look at the names of, let's say, Hercules or Heracles in Greek, the Romans decided, alright, let's adopt that hero, Heracles, and just Romanize the name. Now, English is a notorious borrower of this. Now, this is even if we say that, alright, let's say our language, we do have the Anglo-Saxon period and all this stuff, but let's just say, for argument's sake, that our language starts with the Norman Conquest. With the Norman Conquest and Middle English. It's not completely true on the matter, but if you say that for argument's sake, and then say that any of the Norman French words and any of the Germanic words that are in the language are considered to be a native part of the language, then words coming from other languages, either from later versions of French or directly from other languages, would be loan words in that case. I mean, otherwise, if I didn't make that distinction there, then you could say that, what, 9% of English is loan words? Because, yeah, a lot came from Norman French. Probably a majority of the vocabulary does, due to the way English history works. But we do have several words that have also come in through other means. For example, the word canoe. Alright, a canoe is a specific type of boat. But of course, it comes from the Native Americans. It does... Oh boy! Because you didn't have that type of boat. And in fact, that shows you one of the major sources of loanwords is if you get something from another realm, another country, from another culture, very often you name the item, you give the item the name of the culture it came from. I know it's not universally the case, but it's pretty common to do that. Actually, there we go. Ah! Journeyman! Oh, boy, am I behind. That's the problem, is you can't find any apprentice items, and then when you finally see a chalice or whatever, what do you have? It's journeyman level already. Okay, I'm going to have to do some searching in there. Journeyman. Good grief. But alright, back to loanwords. So therefore, if you decide a new type of boat, what are you going to call the boat? Sometimes you might take something from your own language and modify it or something like this. If the boat wasn't particularly distinctive, then we might have just called it a boat. But since canoes are distinctive, and I guess kayaks also are rather distinctive relative to other types of boats that are used, and believe me, boats already have a large suite of names for them, even to go by the ones from European origin. So because of all those words for stuff like that, yes, they decided specific name for it, and rather than using existing words to create a new one or something like this, they decided let's just use whatever the natives called it. Yeah, it's likely that it's been modified or whatever during the time, because that's also pretty common. And oh, we need one more stinger. Is it stinger that I need? Oh, yeah. Alright, good. That's all the goblins I need. So therefore, you borrow words from other languages for that, for new items you get. Sometimes the other language might be influential in other ways. You might associate things with them. For example, lighthouses have been around for a long time, and I suspect that many cultures knew about them. But the word that is used by many European languages to mean lighthouse is actually the name of the island where the lighthouse of Alexandria was, Pharos. And in fact, that becomes the name. That's the name of for a lighthouse in many languages, and even technically in English, it could mean the same thing. But it's more directly the word used in several other languages, especially the Romance languages, even in Russian. And most likely Greek, since they would have probably gotten it from the Greeks, since it was in Alexandria where the lighthouse was built, and the Greeks built the lighthouse, so the Greeks probably used, of course, would have used the same word for it most likely. So therefore, the word that we use, or at least use in many languages, even though they might have heard of a lighthouse before, because of the influence of the great lighthouse on Pharos, that's the name, that's the word that tends to be associated with it. So let me get out of here. And let's say another example on how things can happen. And this is a case of a fictional thing later becoming fact. And that is, if you look at the word meaning forced worker in Czech, let's see, it is something, its word was slightly modified by a playwright to refer to a mechanical worker for a play about a uprising by these mechanical workers. And the word he decided to use, they created for, was robot. When the play was translated into English, that word entered into the English language. And so therefore robot came to mean that these, specifically of course the ones in the play, but it quickly spread and widened its definition, as words often do when they enter into a new language. So today, a robot could mean, a work device, something used to do work, a mechanical thing to use work. Okay, they're not like the Android shape that they are in RUR, but they are mechanical devices. They do work and stuff like this. We also use it for other similar things, even if they're not basic work systems. And of course, we even use it for things like scripts and the like. If you have your voice, you call someone on the phone and you get a response on the phone that's a mechanical one, we often call it a robot. Even though it's not a mechanical device, it's more of a software item in there. So therefore, you have this original word in there. It enters into the language one way to the other, in this case through an influential play. The word gets picked up and used by other science fiction writers, such as Isaac Asimov, and the word becomes popularized in the language, and then hits into the mainstream under certain circumstances. In the case of robot, of course, is when we started building the things. Alright, and I think it's time for us to turn in a few quests. Hello there. I took care of the cave claws.
Greetings, traveler.
I'm sure you're happy about that. And I took care of another level.
Service.
The whole barricade guard. Both of us, thank you. You're welcome. And I managed to take care of goblins.
I am at your service.
Oh, nothing like a rousing tale of goblin slaying to warm you up on a cold day. Well done. With your help, we shouldn't have too many problems keeping the goblins at bay till the pass is filled with snow for the winter. After all, it will be up to the leaders at Gondaman and Thorin's Hall to figure out what we'll do about the coming next spring. Yeah. Oh, we'll see, because I think they're planning to do something quickly because of Skorgrim, but that's Just my opinion on the matter. Let's see. Ooh, do I want that or do I want the club? Okay, I guess I'll take the club. Well then, let's see. I don't need to speak with Heathstraw at the moment, but I think I do need to get the Longlass. I have thinned the goblins and taken care of one of their leaders.
What do you need?
You have done well, Sun Yellow. Once the dwarves and elves have arrayed their forces, the assault on Roth Tarag will begin.
Stay a moment.
In fact, that's what we're going to be doing when we get back in the next episode of Pineleaf Plays The Scholar.